noticed that most of the young birds that we normally get in, the numbers are down, but we don't know if it's a devastating effect. We won't know until 3 or 4 years down the line. Obviously some things that do badly, that benefits other birds if they're sharing the same food source. One bird will do quite badly and another bird will benefit from that bird's poor season. So it will even out eventually. On the feeding round we've probably got about 40 birds. Normally we'd have a lot more. Most years we'd have probably 60 or 70 on one feeding round. But we're down on blue tits and great tits, and we're down on blackbirds as well. We've only got 6 on this side and a couple there. It's been a long spring. Possibly they'll come back, they'll start breeding now and we'll get more. But it's been a hard spring and a hard winter, and there's just not been the opportunity for the parents to rear good chicks.
I love my job, I love everything, I love the fact that everything gets saved. It's speechless, I can't even put it into words, to be honest. We basically wean them, we keep them, we hand rear them with food that they would normally eat and try and keep it as close to that as possible. And once, obviously, they get older, we try and wean them off into like normal wild bird feed. And then eventually they go into an aviary where they get kept in groups of their own kind, and then eventually they'll be let go. So they are totally dependent on themselves, they don't need anyone. We've just done the best job by hand rearing them and making sure that they're nice and the good weight that they should be to fly and survive in the wild naturally. They get fed once every half an hour. Now it's once every half an hour, so it's half an hour loops, and then eventually it evens out when they get older and when they start eating normal food and we don't need us to feed them anymore, you know? And then eventually that's them, they can go on their journey of freedom. We're incubating common gull eggs and hatching them. They've been removed from an MOD site which wasn't suitable for them to be nesting on. Common gulls are actually quite rare, so we're hatching the eggs and then rearing them and releasing them. We've got quite a few incubators on the go. Most of the ones that we've have hatched. You can see there's one hatching. And we've got a few more eggs to come. We've had about 70 hatch so far, so we have to keep checking this every day. Some of the eggs aren't viable, so that one's broken. We let them dry off in there once they've hatched, and then we move them into a brooder around here to dry off and fatten up a little bit. I'll bring them all out. These ones have actually been in here since this morning, so they only hatched today. Cool. But they're really good, they're really quick to develop, so they know, even at day old, how to pick up food. So we just give them a little bit of food, a couple of times a day at the moment, while they're in that incubator. One. This is just raw mince, just to get them started eating, because they're still not very good at sort of judging where things are. With baby birds, it's been very good. It will sort of keep getting better and better. So once we know the foods that are produced for them are better, then we add supplements to all our foods. So we add vitamins, minerals, and calcium. And we add probiotics to all their water as well to help their digestion. So we are getting better. We've had very few die, sort of young birds this year anyway.
these are all ready to go into the next stage. So once they've all dried off in here, once they come out of there,
Yeah.
they'll get a bigger brooder with a heated, this is like a heated unit for them, so they all sit under there and keep warm, and they'll eat soaked cat biscuits. As you can see, they love that. We keep them in groups of about 7 to 10. They're all varying. We've probably got about 50 in here, ranging from these ones I think hatched 2 days ago. There's some here probably the day before, and they've slowed down a bit now. Last week they were hatching at about 12, 15 a day. So they've slowed down a bit now. We're getting about 4 or 5 a day, and we're putting them groups together. These are much bigger. These are probably herring gulls or lesser blackbacks, which are almost 3 times the size of the common gulls there. We'll get a lot more of them from the wild as well. I think these are quite young ones in here. When they're quite small like this, these ones only hatched yesterday I think. You have to keep encouraging them to eat, keep waking them up. So once they get to this stage, we've got room outside for them to go on the lawn so they can spend the day outside and then come back into unheated cages during the day. So these are set up for the ones outside.
Pipistrelles.
Spill it?
I don't know if I can. This is a little bit, if you can have a look there. This is his wee patient card here. Lets you know where he came from, what happened to him when he came in. But there he is, get a better view of him there. We'll have a look at this one first. Yeah, if you do find one, never put them up with your bare hands. Wear gloves like I'm doing just now.
Why?
There's a slight risk of rabies with bats. Pipistrelle bats haven't been known to have the rabies at all, but as a precaution I always wear gloves. You've got to be quite gentle with them because they're very fragile animals, very small. He's very active because he's been kind of disturbed throughout the day. Usually he'll be sleeping just now. In the wild they'll eat small flies, flying insects, midges, small moths, things like that. Here, because we can't feed them small flies and small moths, we'll feed them mealworms. And these are these little fellas here. And you can hear this wee noise he's making here. This is his kind of social call. Usually when they're flying, you won't hear them at all, so they're echolocating, and that's how they find their food. Yeah, they've got very good eyesight. Everybody says blind as a bat, but it's one of these little myths surrounding bats that they're blind. They can see pretty well. But what we've got to check for on them is check their wings. Always check the wings when they come in, because this is the main part of how they survive really. They've got to fly. And because their wings are very fragile, very small bones, they're actually flying with their hands. So this is his fingers, his thumb and his 4 fingers here, and the skin's attached between them all down to his little foot there. It's very fragile, the skin, so if cats or anything like that have had a go at them, there'll be puncture wounds and tears and things like that on them. Some puncture wounds and tears can heal, so you can always give them time. You actually can see on some of them, if they've had an old tear or anything like that, you'll see a wee bit of scar tissue. This one here, you can see this kind of pale colouring here, if you can see it. Yeah, he's got a hole still left on this side. This side here did have a hole and it's starting to heal. You can still see through it, and that'll be quite pale kind of scar tissue as it heals. He's still having a little trouble flying. I did test fly him the other day there. He's got a sore part on his wrist there, but I think he should come okay in a wee bit of time. Yeah, and he'll be taken back to where he was found, so you need to take them back to the same area where they came from. We'll have roosts there. This is a male, this bat. So if it was a female, you'd want to get it out as soon as possible, because this time of year they'll be giving birth to youngsters. They'll have maternity roosts that the females need to go back to. The males tend to go off on their own, a wee bachelor pad to themselves, and let the females do the work with the babies until the kind of winter comes. So he'll really just go and do his own thing. So I'll put him back to where he came from. Yeah, they're good because they eat 3,000 midges a night, and nobody likes midges, so yeah, they're good for keeping down the midges anyway.
They've just come out this week to the aviary, so they'll be in here for a while yet. These will be here for at least another month. Just learning to fly, and they need to get all their adult feathers through. They've still got quite a lot of fluffy, unwaterproof feathers there. It seems pretty good. Because we put the metal BTO rings on them, we do get records back. We release them here, and occasionally we have had some unfortunately hit on the road down at the bottom there, so maybe 3 or 4 years later, so that we know that they do go out from the aviary and they do well. Most of the animals we get are due to conflict with people in some way, either road traffic accidents or people cutting down trees. Most of the young chicks, most of the young magpies we've had this year have all come from nests that have been chopped down in people's gardens. A lot of hedgehogs that we get are from people's dogs picking them up, or people moving sheds. So a lot of it is human activity. We very rarely get things simply because something's happened naturally. Mostly it's something, someone's done something to cause that animal a problem, and that's why they end up here. Generally, wildlife that's been injured or is ill, the success rate is you're fighting against it really, because by the time they get to a stage where that you can pick them up, they are pretty ill, because wild animals will do anything to avoid being captured. So yesterday we had a deer with 3 broken legs, was still running across a field. It would do anything to stop being caught. He had to be put down, obviously, but it's kind of to put them to sleep and let them carry on in the wild until they die slowly. But success with young birds is very, very good, because they don't actually have something wrong with them when they come in. They've just been either their nest is cut down or something's happened to their parents, nothing's actually happened to them. So success with them is pretty high. Always get advice first before doing something. Lots of birds leave the nest and spend quite a bit of time on the ground, but sometimes birds are on the ground at the wrong time. Some fall out of the nest, or some predators take them out of the nest and put them on the ground. So if you see birds with no feathers on the ground, that's not right. They should be picked up and they should be kept warm and brought to us. Mostly get advice before doing anything really, unless it's in an emergency, and then phone for advice.
These are wagtails. They love being fed their favourite food, which is mince. As you can see, when they beg, they wag their tails. Hence the name, wagtails. They do sometimes go nuts as well in the cage. He's using hemp. It's like a dry formula, but we mix it up with water just to kind of soften it for them. Because it's really hard to hand feed sparrows, because it's virtually impossible to get their beaks open, because they've got a natural clamp. So we just try and kind of copy the same movements as the mum when she would introduce to feed. So as you can see, he's kind of thinking about it, and then eventually hopefully we can get him taking it off the brush. Try and coat his mouth with it just so that he gets, a slight taste of it. Then eventually he'll just take it. A lot of patience, but it's a very rewarding thing to see him feeding. There we go.
These were picked up 3 days ago. There's a dam in Greenock, where every year 2 families always nest on the same dam and then fight over who gets the territory. So these were the losers. The dad had been beaten up and had actually flown away, and the mum had been chased down a drainage channel, and the cygnets as well. So a member of the public very kindly kept them off the water until we got there. They're much easier to catch if they're in either off the water or in very shallow water. So when we got there, we were just able to net the cygnets and grab the mother. And then just as we were leaving, the male turned up. He went in the water and got beaten up again by the other couple. So he was dragged onto the side by them, so we were able to pick him up as well. So we've got the whole family.
These are a mixture of jackdaws, magpies and young crows. Very hungry. These are all fledglings here.
Oh, what?
They're all fledglings.
Fledglings?
Yeah. They're picking up some food. Yeah, I've been working here. I've been full time for about 8 years now, so the job kind of varies. Like from doing the rescues to doing feeding, cleaning, helping with the fundraising, things like that. Yeah, I do a lot of talks, certainly in the winter, to different groups and things like that.
In here we've got 2 oyster catcher chicks. They just came in about a week ago. They'd both fallen off a library roof. One of them's broken his leg, so that's strapped up, and we're going to take the strapping off next week.
Oh, that's wow.
So this is the one with the broken leg. His foot's a little bit swollen, but it is warm and he can feel it. And the break was quite high up, so it's quite difficult to treat that. But he is walking on it and he's eating, so he seems quite happy.